Hi everybody and welcome to another live question answer mediumship clinic with me, Martin Twycross. If you're catching this on the replay, a special welcome to you. If you're able to join me live, even better. Pop your name in the chat box and say hello if you're joining live. So, the latest news from me is that I will be launching an intermediate to advanced mediumship mentorship program. And this will be starting in April next month, and it is aimed at intermediate to advanced students, so those who are looking to work with their mediumship, doing readings or platform, preferably both, getting to a level where you can work professionally with that as a goal. But basically it's for those who already do some platform work or already do some private readings, and we'll be going into it in a great deal more detail. Oh no, there's an echo. I have no idea why there is an echo. Let me see if I can figure out why there could be an echo. Gotcha. Hopefully that has solved my echo. I'm hoping it has anyway. Let me just double check everything. Good. Let me know if that has fixed the echo. Good. Good. I know I had a problem with the feed camera. It wasn't accepting the feed tonight, so I've had to reboot the feed camera. And in rebooting the feed camera, obviously I forgot to mute the camera. So I have a mic here and I also have a camera which also has a mic attached. So obviously you're getting double echo, and nobody wants an echo. So thanks for letting me know about that. So welcome Kathy, welcome Sophianica, Rosalia, Bethany. Okay, so yeah, what is my news? So my news is that I'm going to be running an intermediate to advanced mentorship program. It's going to be starting next month, April. I'm going to be publishing it soon. I'm hoping to get the information out this week. But it'd be aimed at intermediate to advanced students, those who've already done some kind of readings, some kind of platform work, whether that's in a organized course or otherwise, but that's kind of where it's aimed. And basically it will comprise 10 sessions, each session I think lasting 5.5 hours. I will all be organizing as well public demonstrations of mediumship, so that each person has an opportunity to dem in a public dem, being obviously supervised and assessed by myself. There'll be an opportunity to have your private readings as well, supervised and assessed by myself. You'll need to submit readings to me to be reviewed. There will be a closed Facebook group, homework assignments, personalized feedback on your work. Will be a certificate of completion at the end. It's aimed at limited numbers, and there will be an application process as well. So it's not simply a case of first come, first served. Basically, I'll give priority to those who've purchased modules 2 and 3 of my study program, or those who've purchased the Getting Better Evidence, better private readings and better platform mediumship courses. That's kind of the criteria, if you will, where priority will be given. A lot of people over the many years have asked me, would I do a mentorship program? And I finally decided, okay, let's do it. So I know there's a few probably who would want it. So that will be the criteria. If you want to be part of it and you haven't purchased, you can always do that. Can't guarantee you'll get on the program though. Obviously, I want to understand where people are in terms of their work, so there'll be an application form to fill in to explain where you are, so we can get people of the right standard, right caliber. That's what we're seeking to get. So welcome also to Debs and to Andrew. Good to see you. So yeah, so I'll be posting that, as I say, probably over the coming week or two, possibly. I'm still in the process of finalizing the dates and the prices. It will be on Zoom. It's an online program on Zoom. So it will be monthly sessions for 10 months, each one running on a Sunday evening my time from about 4 till 9:30. But wherever you are in the world, you can subtract 5 hours if you're Eastern in America. You can subtract 8 hours from that if you're Pacific. So Pacific, it would start at 8 a.m. 5 hours back from that would be 11 a.m. for Eastern. And if you're Central, you're somewhere in between. So that's the latest news anyway. So If you have any questions, pop them in the chat box and we can work through them in order. I do have a few questions that I get asked regularly, and somebody asked recently, and I said I'll do my best to answer it in this class. First question is how do you know when you're ready to serve churches doing services? And the simple answer is you need to have the requisite skills to be able to do that. Simple answer is you should be able to do enough back-to-back links to fill a service. No good you getting booked to do an hour of mediumship if you can only do 10 minutes. If you can only do 20 minutes, it's not going to work. So you need to have the ability to be able to do back-to-back readings to fill the time frame. You need to be able to do them to a very good standard, whereby the vast majority are taken. If only 1 or 2 of 8 links get placed, you're not really at the right standard. So I'd expect at least 80% of your links to be taken routinely, possibly higher. In an average year, I maybe let go of, I count on one hand, how many links I have to let go of in an average year. And so we should really be seeking to get all our links placed. I know it's not always possible, but that's the goal. So I'd say at least 80% of your links should be placed. You've got to be able to do prayers. You've got to be able to do an address if the service requires an address. You've got to have the skills and the knowledge to work with challenging links. When it's not working well, you've got to be able to deal with it. If you fail and fall over when links go wrong, it's not a good thing. So how do you know when you're ready? Ideally, you'd have a tutor who you work with be able to tell you you're ready. Ideally, you may be able to go to some churches where they have an open platform where you're able to do links, and they may invite you to work. Sometimes churches invite you to work to do in the UK what we call fledgling services, or what maybe would be a medley of mediums where each medium maybe does 1 or 2 links. So that's a good way of working in a real environment, where in front of a real live audience, where basically you are doing the job, albeit you're only doing a part of the job. Something else I highly recommend, if you can, is to go out with another medium. If there's another medium who you're friendly with, you can team up, two beginners team up together to get experience, do half the service each. Or if you have a teacher who's willing to invite you out, for example, I often take out students, have done in the past many times, to help them get started, and they would come out with you and do half the service or half the demonstration if they're not comfortable doing the address. But what you don't want is somebody who comes out with a medium or goes out with their friend and they do the first link, it doesn't work, and says, can't do it now, and sits down. It's not gonna help you. You're not gonna get where you need to get. So is there any specific training needed to serve spiritualist churches? Well, certainly within the UK, there's no specific training, but say within the UK, we have SNU churches, Spiritualist National Union churches. And there is Spiritualist National Union training, the platform accreditation scheme for speaking and demonstrating, and then you have the certificate of the Spiritualist National Union in speaking and demonstrating, the CSNU award. You also have the DSNU award, which is a diploma. For example, I hold the CSNU award in speaking and demonstrating, which means my mediumship was assessed and deemed to be of a suitable standard that they give you the award. So even if you're not in the UK, you can do the CSNU scheme through SNUI. You can do it online. Quite possible that's easy to do. So that is something, if you wish to serve UK churches, it is beneficial to have. But it's not needed. I know many mediums who don't have anything. What is needed is an ability to do the work, and what is needed is getting the experience and getting there to the point where you can get booking. So no specific training is needed, but I highly recommend you have training. Obviously, you all know that I offer a study program, various courses, which give you a good foundation, a good groundwork in the theory of mediumship. If you are interested in doing platform, one of my courses, Better Platform Mediumship, that one goes through in great detail platform work. That is 4 2.5-hour sessions pretty much. So there's 10 hours of teaching in that program. There's a similar one for private readings, which is 4 sessions as well. These are all pre-recorded. The prices have changed since that image here. I must update it to a more recent one. The prices are now £80. That was from quite a few years ago. I must change all my images. Note to self. So yeah, so for readings as well, you can buy that course as well. And what if you're from overseas and you want to do online services in the UK? How would you go about doing that? Well, first of all, if you can get opportunities to work in the US doing it first, or wherever you are in the world, Europe or Canada, I'd recommend that. If you can't get those opportunities, I know that SNUI, yet again, does offer those opportunities. They offer students who are going through their programs the opportunity to do services. So that, again, is a very worthwhile thing. It's very cheap as well. So, if you are a working medium in the US, you can offer to do services for those churches in the UK that offer online services. Some churches in the UK, my own included, we don't offer online services anymore. But some have retained that from, obviously, COVID, everyone has to go online to do their services. Some have retained one weekly in-person service, one online service. I know a few churches that do that. And you can volunteer yourself to do a service for them if you wish. But remember, you've got to be able to do all the components of it. And if you do it well, then they'll invite you back. If you don't do it well, don't be surprised if they don't. Absolutely. So I should have said as well, if you wish to get your question answered quicker, you can always make a super chat donation. So Magic Dana Readings, thank you very much for doing that. So you get your question answered next. Otherwise, I just work through them one at a time. So love tips for identifying the relationship to the sitter. So there are numerous ways of doing this, and you've got to find what works for you. With your mediumship, with any type of evidence, there are numerous ways of getting it. Now, I shall mention as well my Getting Better Evidence course. One of the courses I've done that's pre-recorded is Getting Better Evidence. And in this, I go through each type of evidence and I talk about all the different ways in which you can receive it. So let's just give you an example with relationship. So with relationship, you can sense the link. You can sense the closeness of the connection. You can sense the love energy of the link. And that's often how I start. If you've ever done a family tree, you can be moved up the family tree. So, for example, if I'm one level above the person, mother, father, or it could be uncles. So if I'm going direct, it's mother, father. If I'm going direct to the side, it's probably uncle, aunt, those kind of things. If I'm going 2 levels up, it's grandparents. If I'm going 2 levels up and to the side, it could be great aunt, great uncle. If I'm on the same level, but I'm going sideways, it could be cousin. So these are just some examples whereby a family tree, I use that within my own mediumship as well. Another way is you can see within your mind's eye an image of somebody in your family where the relationship is the same. But you need to have people in the family. Say if you haven't got an aunt on dad's side, you can't see it, can you? But you could see an aunt on mum's side, and okay, it's an aunt. But how would you feel that? Hang on, is it mum's side? You wouldn't know. So you have to feel into that part. So if you have that direct correlation of relationship in your own family, you can do that. If you don't, it's harder. Or, you may be able to work with other relationships that you know of. Or you may see people from a TV program who were that relation if you don't have that one to access. There's ways and means. You may, your favorite soap opera, you may be able to be drawn to somebody and place it there. So yeah, there's all sorts of different ways and means of getting it placed. And how do you know what works for you? Trial and error. How do you know what's going to work best for you? Suck it and see. So it takes time, takes effort. People will work with a variety of different ones. You may be very, very, very lucky and see the word written within your mind, or feel the word surface within your mind, aunt. You may see it written, aunt. And you may even get the name, Aunt Mary. Brilliant. If you can do that, that's awesome. But ideally, the other question I'm going to ask you here, is it critical you identify the relationship? Not always. I would far rather me saying, I've got a gentleman here who was a postman who passed suddenly with a heart attack, and they go, I know that is my dad. Do I need to spend ages trying to get the link when they know straight away who it is? But often I find the nature of the relationship comes when I move to the message. If I'm not given it, as soon as I move to connecting them. So the way I teach mediumship is We bring evidence of survival. Once we've brought enough evidence of survival and know who it is, we then reunite them. We then allow them to be reconnected, a reunion. And in so doing, as soon as I give them time and space to be together, as soon as I allow spirit, okay, what do you want to share? The nature of the relationship generally jumps to the surface if it hasn't already. If I've not said, I may have not actually said who it is, but as soon as it's like, okay, why are they here? This is your dad. I know it's your dad. Yeah, absolutely. Because as soon as they start giving me the nature of why they're here, that comes to the fore. So that's often the best time to get it, not the first thing you're trying to get. Don't try and get it as the first item you get. Get whatever spirit wish to give you. Get whatever flows naturally. Don't try and force it. Don't say, well, I'm not going to work with you until I've got your relationship. No, let it flow. Let it flow. That's the way to do it. So I hope that helps you. Plenty of ways of doing it there. And Sophie Annika, thank you very much for your super chat. Let me come to your questions. Your classes are wonderful. Wish I'd known about Sit in the Power years ago. I'm not even trying to link to do a reading, but the meditation alone has shifted many things for me. Wonderful. I'm glad. It is changing as a country to practice it. It will, absolutely. Wonder if you could talk a bit about how Sit in the Power has evolved for you over the years, or shifts people commonly report. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you watch there's four Sitting in the Power videos I created to go with the free Sitting in the Power meditation. There is a paid for Sitting in the Power meditation as well you can get, which is a longer version and goes into it a little bit differently. But basically there's 4 videos on the YouTube channel. First one is why you should sit in the power, which is a lot of good reasons. Second one is how to do it. Third one is common issues, experiences encountered by beginners. Fourth one is common issues, experiences encountered by those who've been doing it for quite a while. So that fourth one in particular, the 3 and 4 in that series, will give you clues as to how it changes for people. Absolutely, it's within that. Now, when you first start sitting, often some people get profoundly affected by it. You get like, whoa, you're collecting with the spirit world and, the energy is beautiful. It could be a love energy. It could touch you emotionally. It's just the most beautiful energy to be in. And we expect it to always be like that. And it's not. It changes. We're making time to sit for spirit. People say it doesn't seem to work as strongly as it used to. And that's the reason. So yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things going on. The nature of how we perceive the spirit world begins to shift and change as well. How we feel it changes. We may get a calling card to begin with, or at some point. And what a calling card is when you're blended with the spirit world, the energy of being blended with spirit affects you in some way. So I often feel a lot of static electricity around me. I often feel almost like embraced in a warm hug. But that was way stronger in the early days. Now it's not. But it's just that as time's moved on, it's not necessary for me to feel that. In the early days, for me to know I was blended with spirit, if you like, it was something beneficial. Now it's not, because I know I'm blended with spirit. So now it's not an essential. So things will change. Things will change. And wherever you're at, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, may affect it as well. If you're not in a good place, it may be a lot harder to get the connection. Sometimes if I'm not in a good place, maybe something's been going on, stressful, I may try sitting and it's just not working. It just doesn't feel right. I'm just not connecting. And guess what? Maybe it's time just not to worry about doing it that day. I'll just accept that it's different. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. So there's a lot of things, it will evolve over the years, absolutely. But it is a really powerful practice. Some people think it's just a beginner's thing. I'll do that to get me kick-started and then I'll leave it. No. A tutor at the Arthur Findlay College, I remember we were both going through getting training at the college and, we're both of a similar standard. Then one time I went along on a course maybe a year later from seeing him and he'd just gone another level. And I said, wow, your mediumship's just moved. What happened? What was the change? What's gone on? And he said, simple, I just committed to sitting for spirit every day. I committed to sitting in the power. And he was already a good medium at that point in time. It wasn't as if he was being held back. But in making that commitment, I went away from that thinking, right, I need to go and see the spirit more. I can't have other people that jumping way ahead. I want to do that. That'd be great. So, that is another thing. No matter where we are, making that recommitting to the process will help it. So I hope that helps. Could it work the other way? Could it work so that you feel God more deeply? Yes, absolutely. The thing about this is there's no right and there's no wrong. There's no necessity for, if that's what you want, if you want to build that relationship with the divine, with God, then the more you do it, it will strengthen your connection. So I know some people who've got no interest whatsoever in developing mediumship, in becoming a platform medium or a medium who does readings. But ultimately, what they love is being connected to that power, that source, their creator. And they'll do sit in the path for that purpose. And that can be very profound. For me, I see sit in the power as, well, it's a tool as well. So you can sit in the power. The first part is you sit in your own power, your soul power. Never neglect that. Don't always go race into the spirit world. In the early stages, learn to sit in your own power, build your own power, sit in your own power. It's very, very important not to be neglected. That's a very common beginner's mistake. Then we move to the spirit world. The next stage for me is we can use that tool in two ways. We can then either invite a guide to blend with us and get to know our guides and helpers. And as a meditation, I have a course, meditation sitting for spirit, that contains two versions of sitting the power. The normal regular, my normal regular version, and then a different version I did, which I must release on as an audio. There's a kick up the backside for me to get that done, because that's a fabulous version. I just, in doing the course, I was inspired to try a different approach to create the outcomes we want from it. So I shall sort that out at one point. Within that also as well is the extension of getting to know a guide, and it's quite a powerful tool as well. And there's another extension we've got as well, which is getting to know the divine. We get to know the divine. So, and within my Understanding Guides and Helpers course, we have one of the meditations is exactly that, sit in the power to get to know your guides. So, there are very many ways of doing it. It's a tool. So if you want to do sit in the power to get to know the divine, we see the light of the spirit world and we move towards it. And then the extension is you see a brighter light at the core and you move towards that and you touch the essence of the divine. Very powerful. So I highly recommend that. So yeah, sitting in your own power has really boosted your creativity and focus. Brilliant tool exercise. Thank you. You're very welcome. I personally really like sitting in the power. It's a very powerful tool, but a lot of people neglect it, and it shouldn't be neglected. And it can help you in so many other ways as well. As you say, it can help focus, it can help creativity. Effectively, you're moving into the creative brain. You're moving into the right brain. You're leaving the left brain, the logical, analytical brain, while you're doing sit in the power. So you are accessing that creative side of self for sure. And I often get my most creative ideas when I'm accessing that part of my brain. And when I'm coming out of meditation, the ideas pop in. When I'm daydreaming, the ideas pop in. Absolutely. That's a good way of accessing it. So great question. I enjoyed that one. So let's see what other questions we got that I have not covered off. So if you are enjoying this class, remember, do subscribe to the channel if you've not done of it. Do also like the video. Okay, what's next? So, Warrior Princess, how can we increase the standard of our readings? Now, that's a huge topic in itself. Because what do we mean by improving the standard of our readings? First of all, is how you deliver a reading. First of all, it's how you do your introduction, how you do your reading. Secondly, if you're doing professional readings, it's the whole aspect of how you do it, whether it's in person or online, to improve the standards. If you're talking about improving the quality of the evidence within a reading, then that really comes back to my course on getting better evidence. So, getting better evidence will help you find better evidence within your own mediumship. Better Private Readings, we go through the mechanics of readings, and we go through many other aspects as well on top. So how to do readings, what the professional side of readings, when you'd refund a reading, how do you know it's not working? When it's not working, what do you do to make it work? All those aspects. So I don't really know where you are in your development and what specifically you're looking to get from it. So if you can put that in the chat box, I can see if I can fine tune the answer. But quite simply, it comes back to the whole point of how do we make our mediumship better? Practice is obviously one way of doing that. Sitting in the power is another way of doing that, absolutely. And then you need to practice doing it and hone the skill. And I find a lot of people just do readings without really having the theoretical foundation. If you want the foundation, you can check out my course, Better Private Readings. It's also covered off as well in module 3 of the course in mediumship study program, which goes into great depth on platform work readings as well. So yeah, they are ways and means in which you can do it. So if you can fine tune the answer for what you're looking for, I can come back to it in a moment, but hopefully that gives you some clues. Kathy, I learned it differently. This makes more sense. Thank you. You're welcome. Debs, might you consider doing one-to-one mentorship sessions for folks who aren't interested in doing church services or public DEMS? I don't have any plans to do one-to-one mentorship, one-to-one teaching. No. Problem is, time is precious, and it's always a challenge to get everything squeezed in anyway. So I'm going to be launching this intermediate to advanced mentorship program, which is aimed at intermediate to advanced students who are looking to develop looking to move to doing readings, platform work. So that's kind of the most, at this stage, the most I'm moving forward to in doing mentorship. I'm looking to do some what I would call targeted courses, themed courses. So I'm looking to do maybe courses that I'd cover 4 sessions, and we'll run on a certain topic, and there'll be a bit of theory and then opportunities to put it into practice. So we may work with different styles of doing mediumship, and I'll talk through the theory of each style, and there'll be opportunities for you to work each different way. So you kind of the theory matches the practice and tallies together. So I have got plans to do a few of those courses as well. But at the moment, my aim is to get the mentorship scheme launched for those who are interested in that. Kathy, I run across many who've never heard of sitting in the power. Absolutely. A lot of people don't teach it. A lot of people don't do it. Can you develop mediumship without doing it? Absolutely. You can. I know many people who have. But, and here there's a big but, you're missing a tool. You're missing a technique that is going to help you. Sitting in the power, ultimately, it kind of came from the practice that the old mediums had, that you had to get to know your own spirit. You had to get to know the spirit realm. You had to get to know God. And that involved some form of sitting. Sitting in the power was really just a crystallization of that. Gordon Higginson talks about oneness with God. On the Gordon Higginson tribute site and on the YouTube channel, there is a lecture called Oneness with God, where he talks about it and he takes you into a meditation. It's not as structured as a sitting in the power meditation is in the current age, but certainly all the elements are there back in the 80s. All the elements, it's not a new practice. Gordon's mum taught that practice many, many years before in a slightly different way. It's not new. It's just an extension of what's always been taught, what's always been there as a tool. And it's a good tool. It really is a good tool. It can help us in many ways. So if people haven't heard of it, feel free to introduce them to it. If you're sitting and listening to this video now and you think, I've got no idea what Sit in the Power is, I do have a playlist which has a version of Sit in the Power you can use, a shortened version. There is a longer version you can buy from our website. But also it has 4 or 5 different videos in there as well that you can watch on how to do it, why you should do it, common problems and issues you encounter for beginners and more experienced. So that's on my channel. That playlist is there if you're interested in watching it. Magic Dana. Are you familiar with Gordon Higginson's Colours in the Aura, and can I teach you, as in a paid course? Sadly not, no. I have the colour book from Dr. Hilton. So the book that was always referenced has been the closest to what Gordon taught. And I know Paul Jacobs teaches the similar thing as well. The book always recommended is the Dr. Hilton book, which is, I believe, called Colour and Disease, off the top of my memory. I may be wrong with that. It's a blue book. It's sold at the Arthur Findlay College. It's a blue book with coloured circles on the front, and it goes through a whole bunch of colours. Now, the thing about colours, and it's interesting, is that there's two different schools of thought. So if you're interested in colour, I do have a video on colour, special topic number 11, which is working with colour. So if you're interested in colour in more detail, I have that. Also on my website, there is a video, not a video, there is an audio called A Rainbow Journey, which is for you to get to understand your own personal meanings for colour. So two schools of thoughts. Colours have fixed meanings. Other school of thought is colours mean different things to different people, and it means different things depending on the energy of the sitter. I go with the second school of thought. Gordon used to teach the first school of thought, but he also changed things and had elements of the second as well. For me, fixed meanings of colours works to a degree, but it can be very limiting. If you see a colour in the aura of somebody, now one thing that you could teach, and I teach, is that we look at different aspects of the aura to see different colours. So you can look at where they are physically. You can look at where they are emotionally. You can look at where they are mentally. You can look at where they are spiritually. And the colours you see in the energy field will be different meanings depending on whether, say I get a brown in the energy field of someone on a physical level. That could be illness. Generally, it's going to encounter challenges that may be there, that they're having with their physical body. You know, where if I got a brown, when I'm looking at somebody at the spiritual level, I may see that, hang on, this brown, there's not enough grounding there. You know, the person's too much in the spirit world. The person's not rooted, not grounded in the earth. So that's not necessarily what it means. I'd have to feel into the person's energy as well. What you've got to do is you've got to take the colour and you've got to take the information coming back psychically from the sitter and build it all together to get your result. You can't go away and say, Martin said brown in the aura means a person's not well or has energy problems. And a brown that's a physical, and brown in the spiritual means a person's not grounded. No, you've got to go find your own meanings. They're my meanings. You've got to go and work with people. And when you're doing training with the aura, you need to get feedback as to what you're getting, because you may get it wrong. And then they start telling you about what's going on with their health. And you go, I know why I'm getting that now. And that colour, you're understanding what it's meaning to you in that moment. Or what's happening spiritually, you may find out, okay, I see it's not quite what I think it is. So you can't just say, because I get X, Y, and Z, it's not as simple as that. So I personally do not teach fixed meanings of colours. Hence, when you get if you buy my video, Working with Colour, you'll see that I teach everyone to find their own meanings. Hence, I developed the meditation, which is a rainbow journey, whereby you get to sit in each colour. You get to sit in a room of each colour and see how that colour affects you. And you can vary that meditation in a multitude of ways by imagining different shades. The colour blue, the sky blue, there's a very light blue, baby blue, there's royal blue, there's navy blue. There are many different blue shades. There's like a teal blue, a turquoise blue. So you can sit with all these different blue colours, imagining that when you go to sit in blue, this is what the colour will be. And so you imagine that colour, you see that colour, you visualise that colour, you sense how that colour affects you, you sense what the meanings are of that colour as you're within it. So you're creating your own memory bank of colours. So I highly recommend the Rainbow Journey. Originally, it was 2 CDs. I did one on the primary colours, which was the 7 major colours. And then I did another 6 additional colours, things like pink, things like silver, gold, brown, etc. So I then just bundle it all together. You can have it for one price, one audio with 2 parts, primary and secondary colours. So that's available on my website if that interests you. So I hope that answers the question. So sadly, I cannot do a course on colour. Not that easy, but it's great. If you love colour, experiment with it, work with it. You know, if you love colour and you haven't got my class, my video on colour, special topic 11, working with colour, check that one out. That will give you a whole bunch of clues, tools, techniques in which you can work with it. And also you can, in the categories on my site, if you go to audio meditations, you'll find a Rainbow Journey in there, along with Sitting in the Power. Hopefully that helps you. Peter, I purchased the long version of Sit in the Power that Martin offers, and it's brilliant. I often use that one. The short version on YouTube makes a tremendous difference. I'm glad you got the benefits. They've both got a different energy. The YouTube one is great if you're in a hurry, but if you can do the long one, that's also powerful as well. And I messaged to myself, I will get the new version of Sit in the Power. I just need to re-record it properly without the noise. Effectively in a little booth and get it done, and I'll get that out there. Kathy, I was with a spiritualist church back in the 80s and they never mentioned it. Some people are aware of it, know of it, others don't. It kind of came into a greater awareness with Glenn Edwards. Glenn Edwards developed Sitting in the Power. His version came out, I believe, in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. So it kind of came back into the public awareness much more then. So in the 80s, yeah, it probably was a bit under the radar. Although the concept of that meditation, the concept of getting to know your own soul, the concept of getting to know the spirit world through meditation, that has always existed within the spiritualist movement, although some teachers moved away from it. Margie, question. I was doing a reading for a lady, brought in her father and also picked up another male brother, but was not clear. She replied her brother was alive, but a few weeks later he died. Can I explain what was going on? What can happen here is that you may pick up father and spirit. Father takes your attention to brother. You get information about brother. But what it is concerns around brother, concerns that if I'm doing a reading and they say, oh, that person's alive, generally it means that there's some concern about them. There's thoughts going to them. And in that case, that scenario, absolutely, there is concerns health-wise. Are they predicting his death? Absolutely not. No, spirit do not predict death like that, in my experience. You might pick up that he's really not well. You might pick up that the signs don't look good. Absolutely. That can all be picked up psychically from the sitter. It can all be given to you from the spirit world. Absolutely. But basically, were you linking with brother's spirit? No, I don't think so. Generally, it's very, very hard to link with the living unless some criteria are met. And the criteria are, if there's a brain injury and they've got a foot in both worlds, if they're in a coma, it's possible to link with them. If they are about to take their transition and they're in and out of consciousness, quite literally at death's door, you can link with them. I've linked with a lady before she passed, but she was pretty much in and out the whole time. So the family couldn't understand that. So I don't think you were making a link with his soul. What I think you were getting was spirit bringing information about the concern around him, or bringing that they're trying to help with a situation, that they're trying to give healing. And that's what I would expect would be the case. Pete, for the mentorship program, will the Zoom sessions be recorded for students to watch afterwards? Sadly not, no. So the Zoom it's live teaching. The Zoom is live teaching. People will be doing working in pairs or working in the group. I'll be given teaching, I'll be given exercises, people will get to do it, but it's all live. It's not going to be recorded. So people will need to be able to commit to the dates. So yeah, I get that. It's not everyone's going to be able to keep it free, and there won't be you won't gain much at all from watching a recording of it, and plus, if other people are working doing platform work, I wouldn't circulate a recording of that either. So no, it's just like everybody else who runs a mentorship program, they're pretty much all live in person. It's not a recorded type of class. Branwen, I'm in the US and I've noticed the difference in the reading style between US and UK mediums. I didn't know that development was possible without sitting the power. I'm in the early stage of development. Because I'm in the UK, I don't always see the differences in reading style. So I know there are. I know some people in the US who work in very unusual ways. The vast majority of people who I work with, train with, follow the UK style. The vast majority of people who come to me for teaching or buy my products like the UK style. So yeah. And in my teaching, I teach the UK style. For those who may want to join the mentorship, it will be the UK style. Absolutely. But yeah, certainly development is possible without sitting in the power. I'll be honest in that when I first started doing mediumship, I didn't know about sitting in the power until I was probably, at least 6 months into my development. No one ever mentioned it to me. I went to a course at the Arthur Findlay College, and Mavis Patilla said to me, "You should be sitting in the power." I didn't know what she meant. I had to ask her, "What do you mean, Mavis?" I didn't even know what it is. And so at that point, I could already make links. I could already do mediumship, but didn't understand what it was. But she quite rightly pointed out, sitting in the power will help you progress a heck of a lot more than you are at the moment. And she could see that within the energy you need sitting in the power. So yeah, it's a tool we can use. It will help us. Hi, Trevor. Good to see you. To Kathy, colours are like dreams and sign symbols. You have to go with what you feel. So again, symbols is the same sort of thing. You build your own symbol library. You work with your guides to establish what symbols mean for you. There are some symbols that can have a generic common meaning. There are certain generic common meanings for certain colours, but it's often too limiting. If you just learn that red is energy, or red is anger, or red is blood, it's very limiting. Whereas it could mean all sorts of different things. Everything is a tool. Always we rely upon the energy we're sensing using our psychic awareness from the sitter. The information we receive psychically marries with the tool. Whether it's a card we're working with, whether it's symbols we're working with, whether it's colours we're working with, whatever that is, string. I teach string readings in beginners classes. People just drop a string and it has all sorts of patterns. And you can tune in psychically with them and interpret what all those patterns mean in their lives. Psychically. But without the psychic, it's meaningless. If you just look at that string and say, what does it mean? Unless there's a person you can tune in psychically to, it doesn't mean a thing. What does that loop mean? It doesn't mean a thing. But when you've got somebody there and you can push into their energy and bring information back and look at that loop, you can marry the two up and it can make sense, and you can work with it. So hopefully that makes sense. Branwen, I haven't heard of colour usage. What is the application? Would it simply be seeing an aura about the spirit or something different? So, colours, we'll often get beginners to work with colours. Some people literally see a colour in the aura, but that is rare. I know very few mediums who see colour in the aura. Mavis Patilla did, Gordon Higginson did, a few people I know do. I don't. So what I do is I sense the colour within the aura. That may sound odd. Or when I tune into the aura, colours appear within my mind. I can't see them there. They're not there. It's like I'm pushing in and colours appear to me. But it's subjective. It's within Martin's brain. It's within his mind. It's not that they're there. Oh, look at that red in that aura. Can you see it? Oh, yeah, it's amazing. It's not like that. No. So, but it's just a tool. It's just a tool, but it's a psychic tool. It's not mediumistic. Important point here. It's if you're working psychically doing readings, it's another tool we can use, but it's not a mediumistic tool. Very rarely do I use color mediumistically. There's no point. I'd rather just receive the information from spirit. You know, I don't really want to work too much with symbols and color when I'm working with spirit. Certain symbols can speed up the process of mediumship when you have a set symbol and it can mean something. But generally, I don't want to be trying to interpret stuff and scratching my head thinking, what does that mean? So unless it's part of my own symbol library, it's not helping me. So hopefully that all makes sense. So thank you for your super chat, Dana. What's your question? I was watching Andy Bing's Public Dem and his evidence was rapid fire and on point. Question, does that just come with time if you constantly work at it? I wish I could say the answer is yes, but I can't. I know Andy, I've seen him dem many times. There are some mediums who can work very fast, others not as quick. And some mediums teach themselves and train themselves to get certain types of evidence. I know Andy from many years, and he went through the training scheme at the college with me. And I know that Andy pushes himself. I know that. I know that he likes to get different types of evidence. He's not content. And so, you know, and all of us do it to some degree. Like the other day I was just thinking, you know, I'm not sure I've ever brought a fireman through. Or what jobs have I not brought through from the spirit world? What scenarios have I not brought through? And sure enough, the next platform I'm doing, it starts to come through because you start looking for it. You start pushing out to see if you can get that kind of information. So, you know, so we shouldn't just be happy with the same old, same old. We have to push ourselves. So that's the point. You need to push yourself and you need to kind of monitor what you're given and what you're getting and what's good and what's not, and look to push. It's never resting on our laurels. But equally, to be able to work at certain levels, most of the college tutors, someone would argue they have a gift. Their mediumship is not just average. You know, to become a tutor at the Arthur Findlay College, yes, you've got to do the tutor training scheme, but you've also got to dem and do readings, and they're assessed by experienced tutors at the college, and it has to be of a certain standard. It can't be just average run-of-the-mill type information. It's got to be some good stuff. So I'd say all the college tutors are going to be mediums capable of working at a very high level. So I'd love to be able to say just work at it and you can get that level, but it's like any ability. Some people have a natural ability. Some people have a strength with that ability. You know, some people are natural musicians. They have a talent. Some are prodigies. Some people can take it to a very, very high standard. Others can only take it so far. With music, I'm truly hopeless with music. I'm tone deaf. I have no sense of rhythm. And to do anything good, it's hard. I was thrown out of my school choir because I couldn't sing. I tried to learn guitar. I had a tutor. He told me I was lousy, possibly the worst student he ever had. So me and music, I was at the end of the queue when the gift was being given out. Mediumship, it's a bit better. I can do mediumship better. So again, you know, you're going to have a natural ability to work. We have an ability we can do. And I say everyone has two types of ability. The surface level ability, which is always there from the get-go, and then what can be unfurled and unfolded and developed from within. And some people have a huge amount of potential, like an iceberg, hidden amount of potential under the water with a little bit on the surface. But other people, all the stuff that's on the surface is pretty much all that's there. We develop them and develop them and develop them. They don't really move forward from what's there. That's the full ability. So everybody has a different degree of ability. So yeah, I want to get that level and I'm willing to work daily. I just want to know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's very hard to give people to say you can get there. You know, if I'm working with somebody in classes, you know, those who come on the mentorship scheme with me, yeah, we'll get to work together for the best part of a year, I'll witness many, many platform dems and readings, and I will see the potentials people have. I will be able to give, as part of that, there'll be a private session with me, personal coaching. And within that, I can do some appraisal work as well, spiritual appraisal. And some people, I may be able to say, there's so much there that needs to be unfolded. You've got to work with it. And others, it's hard. It's not necessarily there as much. And but without working with somebody, without being present with somebody enough, it's hard to see that. I don't believe anybody can ever tell you you don't have it. When I started out, in my first couple of years, I was told by one medium that you'll never make a medium. Don't ever give up your day job. You'll never make a medium. Thank heavens I didn't listen, is all I can say. So, and I myself as well, over that, I've been teaching since 2005. So that's what's that, 19 years. And in those 19 years, I've seen students who I think to myself, when I start working with them, they're never going to be able to get there. It's not going to work. And then they amaze me. It may be a slow burn, but slowly but surely it unfolds and they get to work on platform. They get to become a platform medium. Whereas 10 years earlier, I would have said, I don't think there'll ever be a platform medium. And that taught me the lesson that you can never say never. I can never tell anybody you haven't got it. I can just say at this moment in time, it's not as strong as some others. So I don't want to take away any light at the end of your tunnel, but definitely give it the time, give it the effort, give it the dedication, be willing to push yourself. That's key as well. Commit to it, dedicate to it, and know that what we give into it will move it forward. Anything worth having takes time. Absolutely. Okay, let's have a look at some questions. Okay, Amir, your question. Sorry, just a silly question. No such thing as a silly question. As we know, there is no concept of time in spirit world. Then how are they aware of special occasions like their birthdays? Now, I don't know who told you there's no concept of time in the spirit world. I entirely disagree. I disagree with that entirely. There is time in the spirit world. It may not function like time in this world exactly, but there is time in the spirit world, and everything happens sequentially. But loved ones in the spirit world draw close to us, and they're aware what's going on in our lives. Loved ones in the spirit world know when it's Christmas. They know when it's your birthday. They know special occasions. They may not operate on exactly the same calendar, but they're aware of these important events in our life. And they're bonded to us through bonds of love. They're aware of our birthdays. They are aware of, if the family gets together at Christmas, they know that that's happening. So the best description of life in the spirit world was written by Maurice Barbanel, very, very heavily influenced by Silver Birch, I'm sure. It was the final chapter in one of his books, forget which one, but I've put it on my website, Life in the Spirit World. You can read it on my website there. I've shared it on Facebook many times. It might not be easy to find on Facebook, mine, but there you go. But definitely it's on my website. I recommend you read it. And life in the spirit world is a lot like life in this world. And they celebrate the same things they celebrate here. Whatever your religion is in the spirit world, you don't just instantly lose the connection you have with it. So if there's religious festivals you celebrated here, you can celebrate them as well in the spirit world. You can get together with family and friends in the spirit world to celebrate Christmas, to celebrate Easter, or to celebrate Hanukkah, or whatever it is that you celebrate. So, but I don't, this concept that some people teach that there is no time, I think is just misguided. There is time in the spirit world. Things happen in sequence. Our lives unfold one step, one aspect at a time. I won't say second, minute at a time, because it may not be as clear as that. But that's my view from what I understand. So, but a lot of people teach a lot of things without any real backup of it. But those who come to us from the spirit world say that life in the spirit world is a lot like life in this world. And, they're able to do things they like doing here. If you liked playing football here, you can play football in the spirit world. I once told a joke. I did a joke about I'll tell you the joke. Okay, so I told this joke on platform. Sometimes when the energy's flat, for a dem, I like to get them going. So the joke goes, I was at a dem last week and someone kept putting their hand up and interrupting me. I've got to know, I've got a question, I've got to answer this question. And it's like, no, wait till the end of the dem. I'll tell you then. I'll speak to you at the end of the dem. And the person goes, no, I've got this burning question. I need you to answer it for me. Okay, what's the question? Do they play football in the spirit world? I love football. I enjoy football. Football is my life. Do they play football in the spirit world? And I said, okay, let me tune in. It's a joke, by the way. Let me tune in. Okay, I've got good news. I've got bad news. The good news is, yes, they play football in the spirit world. Brilliant, he says. Well, what's the bad news? You're on the team next week. That's the joke. But so I told that joke. It usually gets a laugh if you've never heard it before. But my first link that came in straight after that joke was a boy who dropped down dead playing football, a schoolboy who dropped down dead playing football with a heart problem, who absolutely loved football, passion for football. And his message was, absolutely, they play football in the spirit world and I play football. And for the family there, they were amazed. And I probably was inspired to tell that joke because I have a few jokes I circulate and run with. But I couldn't believe just how much spirit came in off the back of that joke and actually brought the reality that, yes, they play football in the spirit world. How amazing is that? Isn't it brilliant? I think it's brilliant anyway. So, yeah. Kathy, is that because we are thinking of the events or dates? Yeah, with that in the spirit world, it's both. They're aware of it anyway. They're aware of the energy of the earth, the energy that we're coming up to Christmas, or the energy that this time of year, that's my loved one's birthday. They know. And I don't think that, maybe in the spirit world, they have their own timing and their own calendar, and they have an earth calendar that can check, okay, so yeah, that's this time now, okay, it's her birthday in a day's time, I better make sure I pop down and wish them happy birthday. May work like that, may not, I don't know. Never say never. How do we know? So let's see what any more questions I've missed. Branwen, even though I understand your perspective, colour may be something that will be beneficial to me. I've always seen spoken words and musical lyrics and colour in my mind as I hear them. Absolutely. Some people naturally work with colours, others don't. I wouldn't say I was a natural colour person. I can work with colour. I like colour. I enjoy colour. I'm looking to my right, and do you know the highlighter pens? Everything around me here is coloured in highlighter pen, and I love highlighter pens. And there's a certain make, and I think they have 30 different colours, and I've got all the colour. They're all just here on the desk, just a big row of colours on the desk. So you'd argue I like colour, and I work with. When I was at school, when I had to memorise notes and things, everything was colour-coded with highlighter. Highlight has been a massive part of my life. That colour, my brain loves that colour to work with. So I've always loved colour. I love wearing certain colours. I love being in certain colours. But when I'm working, doing psychic and mediumistic work, colour's not a major part of it to the extent it is for other people. I still have a love of colour. I still enjoy getting the coloured ribbons out and playing with them. Yeah, absolutely. Those are great, especially in circle, beginner circle, coloured ribbons, can't beat them. So many people do love colour. And if you're a colour person, use it, experiment with it, try it, see how it works for you. It's a tool. Everything in life is a tool. Some people love working with cards. Some people, and if that's you, yeah, use it as a tool. Some people love the tarot and the story that underpins the tarot and the imagery and symbology of the tarot. And if that's you, yeah, work with it. Work with what you enjoy. Work with what speaks to you. Some people love symbols. So again, if you love symbols, absolutely work with them. If you're a person who thinks colour, not interested, symbols, not interested, yeah, it may not be a good fit for you because it doesn't naturally float your boat. It doesn't naturally tickle your fancy. So Yeah, go with what feels right for you, what works for you, what is a part. Okay, Branwen, is part of your belief and teaching that even once someone has reincarnated, it is still possible to connect because of the existence of oversouls or fractures? Is that how you explain it? I personally don't teach reincarnation at all. So again, you've got to remember everyone's different. The bit of me, that is Martin, will continue on a trajectory of life, separate, unique as Martin. I don't think I'm coming back to Earth necessarily. I don't think people do come back. Silver Birch was asked a question about do people reincarnate on the Earth, and his answer was no. He knows of hardly anybody in the spirit world who's reincarnated. He said in special circumstances, say a child who tried to come to the Earth but didn't make it, passed before birth, stillborn, or passed shortly after birth, at birth, very young. It's possible for that soul to return again, try again. But for the vast majority of people who live an earthly life, a reasonably long earthly life, for the vast majority of people, there's no need to come back again. Because it'd be crazy of us to believe that this is the only place we can have a physical existence. You look at the scale and size of the universe, it's vast. Absolutely mind-bogglingly vast. We know of one solar system with about 9 or 10 planets, of which one is inhabited. Yet if there are trillions and trillions of stars and solar systems, could there not be a heck of a lot of other places you could gain an experience, life experience? Why? And each place you go would be at a different stage of evolution, of consciousness. And then within the spirit world, there could be worlds within worlds. They don't need to be physical worlds. The way we exist within the spirit world is as a mind, and mind creates world. There is an argument that this entire world we live in is an illusion. It's actually created by minds, and it crystallizes as matter, but it's not. Now that can blow your mind, can't it? Absolutely. So I don't teach reincarnation. So that's my first point. When we look at how do we have past life memories, then I believe it's the oversoul, the group soul theory, that we are one aspect, but another part of that greater oversoul or that group soul that shares memories to evolve the whole is the other memories you're able to access. You have access to them because they've been shared with you. That's not necessarily your memories. They're other people's memories you have access to. Just like as mediums, when we're working with spirit, they give access to their memories to share with their loved ones. Temporarily, we temporarily access their memory to share, to bring forward evidence, to help people. But I believe that groups of souls get together and share knowledge, share experience, share their life experience to help the whole, to help the evolution of the whole. So that's my view. Yes, it's oversouls. Yes, you can talk about the fragmented soul from that oversoul that goes on its journey. But the bit that is me, Martin, the bit that is having this earthly life as the existence of Martin, is individualized now. It's broken off from the whole. It's individualized. Still belongs to the whole. It's still a part of the whole. Just like you are a part of the Great Spirit, the divine, but you're not the whole of the Great Spirit. So I'm an aspect of that soul or that oversoul, but I'm having my own earthly existence. I reconnect with it. I have access to information from that oversoul, that group soul. Call it what you will. But in this lifetime, this journey, it's me. When I go to the spirit world, I exist. I continue on as me. I don't instantly reincarnate. I'm not aware of any medium, any of the great mediums who talk about, I can't contact that person in spirit because they've reincarnated. Never ever seen it discussed, written. Doesn't exist. So to come to your question, it becomes hard because I don't believe a person can be reincarnated. I believe an aspect of the oversoul, group soul, can be reincarnated, but not the person. So I hope that I've explained it well. I know it's not an easy. When we get into this, it gets very hard. And the problem for me is people simplify it. You know, we're on a hamster wheel of lives. You know, you run your earthly life, you go to the spirit world for a rest, and then you jump back on the hamster wheel and have to run another earthly life and then jump off again. And no. I have given readings to Buddhists and Hindus and brought through their loved ones in spirit. And they often believe in a constant cycle of reincarnation. But whether that's the truth, though, you can have a religious belief, but that may not be the truth, you see. So I go with Silver Birch. The teachings that have most spoken to me ever since I've come to this movement is the teachings of Silver Birch, delivered through the medium Morris Barbanel, which really speak to my soul, really speak to me on so many levels. I go with Silver Birch day in, day out. That's where I basically have my aligned belief system. So that's what I go with. Okay, next question. Peter, do you ever have spirit pop in prior to a reading, like a gate crash? If so, how do you manage or address this? I never have spirit come to me unless I'm open to spirit. They don't ever, spirit wouldn't just pop in now. No point, because I'm doing a class. I'm not working with spirit at the moment. I'm not doing a dem. I'm not doing a reading. I'm not teaching. I do not expect to connect. And I have strict boundaries. But if I was doing a demonstration tonight in a church, as I often do on Sunday nights, and I'm getting ready for that dem, and I'm sending my thoughts to the spirit world, and I'm saying, Spirit, I'm working tonight. I welcome all those who link to those who are going to be there to come work with me. I'll set my intent with spirit for what I want, and in that moment, someone may join with me. Okay, so you want to communicate for tonight? Well, when your loved one's there, come back and join me. I can feel your dad. I can feel you're coming for your daughter. And yeah, you're a right barrel of laughs. You're a comedian. Brilliant. Love it. Come back later tonight when I'm on platform and it's time for me to work. Come back into my mind again. Let me know you're there. So yeah, they can do that. That's what will happen with me. But and here's the but. It doesn't happen otherwise. And it wouldn't make sense that it's just some random person. If I'm ever doing a reading, only loved ones who belong to this person or connect to this person are welcome to work with me. If I'm doing platform, only loved ones who connect to the people in the room at that moment in time are welcome to work with me. Although, tell a lie, I have actually brought someone through and no one could take them. And then somebody comes through halfway and I finish the link I'm doing. I go back and say, by the way, you can't just take this information, summarize the 5 or 6 key highlights. Oh yeah. Okay, your loved one got here early and you didn't. You're running late. That's happened before. That's hilarious when it happens. But yeah. So first of all, how do you prevent it happening? You basically set your boundaries. So for me, I'm like a switch. I'm either working for spirit or I'm not. So if I'm not doing a reading, there's no point linking with me because you're just going to confuse me. If I'm not going to be doing a dem shortly thereafter, don't bother linking with me. But as soon as I start sending my thoughts to the spirit world, I've got a reading coming up with somebody. Yeah. I hope they're on time. Oh, hang on, I'm thinking about the reading, and then all of a sudden someone takes the opportunity. Right, let's make myself. Let's get my presence known to him. He's going to be linking with my loved one soon. I don't mind that. I have no problem with that, and I won't block that. Because if they want to come early, yeah, absolutely. I'm happy with that. Because it's the intelligence of spirit. Because I'm thinking about the reading, or I'm setting the intent for the reading, or the intent for the dem. It's logical spirit might then choose that opportunity. When I'm actually setting the intent with the spirit world, that they can just come straight in on it. Absolutely. But otherwise, the way I manage it is it's that boundary. It says clear boundaries. Nobody else who does not belong is not allowed. Random drop-ins are not allowed. And I'd like to hope my guides would respect that as well and not allow them to do it. Amir, brilliant, love the joke. Thanks for an amazing answer. The reason I asked, my partner sends me signs frequently but did not receive anything on his first 2 birthdays ago since he passed on. And sometimes we don't necessarily open to it. And, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I'm sure he's aware, but sometimes it's just not always possible to get that communication through. And also, you're requiring the person who's receiving it to have some degree of awareness as well. If we haven't developed our own psychic awareness and mediumship, it can be hard. So some people, all my loved ones passed, but I never feel them around me. But somebody else I know, their loved ones around them all the time. But that other person may be have a natural ability to sense and being aware of it. Whereas I was like a brick before I began development. I didn't feel nothing around me. So, spirit could have come and rapped me on the head and it wouldn't have bothered. It wouldn't have got through at all. It wasn't until we start unfolding our awareness and starting to develop that, I'm aware of spirit now. But then that's when we get too keen. We're always looking. No, then we have to have it. I tend to turn myself off now. But in your case, obviously, that's different. I understand. Okay, next question. Kathy, I believe that we do, and it's only one part of the soul that incarnates, and there's one part that is always home with source. So we can always communicate with loved ones. That's another theory. The other theory, it's like an iceberg, that there's part that incarnates, but the greater part remains in the spirit world. Yeah, and I get that. I understand that. But I personally don't believe that we, as the individual, as the person you are, I don't believe you reincarnate. It's my belief, based upon teachings of great spirit guides. So, of course, everybody is entitled to your own belief. And the thing is, with all these things, I don't necessarily have the answer. I have what resonates with me. I also have what my own guides and helpers have brought through in trance over many, many sessions. I've been sitting for trance for well over 10 years, done hundreds of trance sessions. At some point, I'm going to try and compile some of the teachings into a book. But they've spoken at length about reincarnation, and basically my beliefs are the same as my guides, are the same as Silver Birch. But some of the stuff they bring through was at odds with what I thought. But now that I've listened to their arguments, it's like, yeah, I like it. It's good. It's way more powerful, way more complex, way more in-depth than what I could even think of. And so, yeah, at one point, it'd be nice to try and compile their teachings on the journey of the soul. So, yeah, we'll pop that out. Gracious Mystery. Sorry, I missed the beginning, but do you offer a mentorship? Is it a series of your pre-recorded modules? How does it work? So what I offer, if you look at the big picture, so what I offer is I do offer a course in mediumship study program, which is theoretical classes and tutorials with question and answers in them, which is all pre-recorded. That goes a great deal into depth. There's 3 modules. Modules 1, 2, and 3, which progress through mediumship, and a special module for those interested in healing, inspiration, and trance. That is based upon my videos. There's 24 videos that I based it upon, and each one has a tutorial which goes into more detail on each video. So for each video, there's maybe 30 questions asked on it in the tutorial, and I also give suggestions for how you can work with it. So all of that's kind of within the study program. The study program is a good resource. I've also developed a series of courses to build on the information in that study program and go into more depth, with the exception of the fundamentals of mediumship is actually the similar type of material. Everything else drills into more depth. These are all pre-recorded classes that I've done. There's 4 2-hour classes generally. Some last for 2.5. Some may even last for longer than that. They probably all run way over 2, more like 2.5, but there you go. So there's a lot of teaching material in that. Again, that is kind of presentation, theoretical presentation teaching. In terms of live, if you want to be taught by me live, I am going to be launching an intermediate to advanced mentorship course starting in April. I'm just in the final stage of pulling it all together. It's going to be 10 monthly sessions, each lasting about 5.5 hours. Also, there'll be opportunity to take part in a public demo of mediumship and have your private readings assessed. Also, you'll get a private session with me for personal coaching, spiritual appraisal, be a closed Facebook group, monthly homework assignments, personalized feedback on your work, certificate of completion at the end. Numbers will be limited, probably about 14 maybe, something like that. And there will be an application process because I'm looking for people who are at the right level. And also priority will be given to those who've already purchased modules 2 and 3 in my study program, or who've already purchased Getting Better Evidence. I've got some courses. The ones to buy are Getting Better Evidence, Better Private Readings, and Better Platform Mediumship, because that's all the theoretical foundation that underpins what we're going to be working with the practical exercises. So priority will be given to those who've already purchased the theoretical foundations, because what I don't really want is people who have no idea what my teaching style is, no idea what I'm about when it comes to teaching platform or teaching readings, or don't even know how to do mediumship. I want people who are already working with it, mediumship, intermediate to advanced, should already be doing private readings, at least in practice, should already be doing some kind of type of dem work, if that's shared dems or whatever. That's kind of the level we're looking at. So hopefully that all makes sense. That's the mentorship scheme that is going to launch soon, very soon, hopefully this week, and that will run for 10 sessions from April through to January. I will also be offering as well some themed courses, maybe running for 4 sessions, where there's a bit of theory, but we do exercises to put it all into practice, kind of tutorial type teachings. Hope that all makes sense. Okay, let's come back. Dana, is there a book with Silver Birch's teachings? There are many, many books published by the Spiritual Truth Foundation, all available from the Arthur Findlay College, and I'd like to hope there be as well on the SNU website. There's about 10 of them, I believe. There's a few of them over here. These are the old covers, but the old covers look like this. Different titles, all teachings of the Universe of Silver Birch, Guidance from Silver Birch, The Spirit Speaks. There's loads of them. There's about 10 of them in total, all published by the Spiritual Truth Foundation. Should be available from the Spiritual Truth Foundation website in the UK. Definitely should be able to get them from Arthur Findlay College as well. So highly recommend them. They're all really good. The quality is beautiful, beautiful. Kathy, I was a hypnotist in the 80s and 90s and used to regress people to the time in between lives and learned a lot during those sessions. And, you know, again, it depends on your belief systems. Now, I'm a trained hypnotherapist. I've done past life regression. Some of the problems I have, I've got a very scientific mind. I've got a very analytical mind. I'm scientifically trained. I did a degree in physics, master's in environmental science. And so as a consequence, if you tell me something, I kind of need something to back it up. So with myself, I've done past life regression with people, and past life regression definitely helps people. But a lot of the information that comes through in past life regression is generic. A lot of the information that comes through in past life, people tell me, oh, I'm living in the 1890s and there's loads of cars driving around and electric lights. Hang on, no. Back then, it wasn't electric lights, it was gas lights. Back then, there wasn't cars regularly everywhere. The car may have been invented then, but no, they weren't popular. And so what people are describing is not historically accurate. And that bothered me a lot. But I believe in the power of the mind to construct things that can help. So as a therapist, what I came to believe was that the mind will construct things that will help. So it didn't matter whether it's real or not. It can explain away things. It can collapse problems. Absolutely. So, but for me, I actually have a lecture, part of in my study program in module 1. as part of the spiritual development tutorial, I actually go through a presentation on all the different ways we can explain away past life memories. And I spent a lot of time examining all the different theories on past life memories, and the vast majority of them get very complex quick. So I don't believe in reincarnation personally. From everything I've done, all my training, even the past life regression I've done with people, I don't believe it personally that we do. But of course, as I say, you're welcome to your belief systems as well, and we're all different. Absolutely, we're all different. You know, there was an experiment done with students in a psychology department where what they did was they told them it was possible to have a past life as an animal. And then they went and had a past life regression session, and all the ones who were told it was possible had a past life as an animal. Yet they took a whole different group, never told them anything, no suggestion given, and they give them past life regression, and they asked, were you an animal? And the answer was no. No. In other words, what the belief is creates the experience. So you've got 100% having an animal or thereabouts, very high percentages, 90 or whatever, and a control group where nobody is an animal. The only difference being the suggestion was given to them by somebody that they could be they were an animal in a past life. That's how profound our minds can be influenced. So if you read a book on whatever, that could become your belief system. When you're regressed, that's what happens. So it's hard. So I'm just trying to give you some examples of where my own thinking comes from. Too scientific for some, probably. And yeah, if it goes against, a friend of mine does past life regression, and she completely disagrees with everything I say, and that's absolutely wonderful too. Everyone's welcome to their beliefs. I'm not here to tell you what to believe or to tell you my way is right. All I can do is go with what I've got from my own experience and also my own guides, what they've said. But you're welcome to your own belief systems. The problem is none of us are in the spirit world yet. None of us know the truth for sure. Okay. Branwen, your explanation was very clear. Sadly, I've seen too many mediums tell sitters that their loved ones are either earthbound, trapped in purgatory, can't be contacted because they're reincarnated. And it is all utter BS, all utter tripe. I have a video on the channel on earthbound spirits. Are there earthbound spirits? Can spirits be trapped? Can they be caught in no man's land? Answer is no. And any medium who's doing that really needs to get a grip of themselves, because it's stupid. It really is. Everybody, at the moment you pass, you are met. You're not trapped in purgatory. There are no earthbound spirits. You can choose to be close to the earth. Absolutely. It's a choice. But no one is blocked from going to the spirit world. Everybody is met. Everybody is met with love, and spirit do not need a person on the earth to sort something out. Spirit people are perfectly capable of doing that as well. Anyway, it's all in my Lost Souls and Earthbound Spirits video. Please check them out. Branwen, I think my belief is the same as yours. I actually crossed twice and had a conversation on the other side before being sent back. Spirits help share my view. Absolutely, and everybody has their own experiences upon which to base things. Bethany, thank you, Martin. Your teachings are always encouraging. I'm glad. And remember, if you're enjoying it, if you're watching this on the replay and you're enjoying it, remember to subscribe to the channel. Do hit the like button. If you want to support the channel, you can use super thanks, super chat. Those in the here you can donate through super chat and buy me a coffee. You can use super thanks if you're watching on replay, or you can make a donation through PayPal. There's a link pinned at the very top of the chat box if you want to use PayPal me and buy me a coffee. But if you want to support the channel as well, do check out what I offer. Do check out my courses, study program, videos, audios, and again, by buying those you can help support the channel. Okay. I'm going to AFC for open days in May, so I should be able to buy silver birch books directly from there. Are you attending the home days? Sadly, I'm not, no, but definitely you should be able to buy them from the Arthur Findlay College shop, provided they have the stocks. I'm sure they have, but you should definitely be able to get them there. Branwen, I totally agree that we're all entitled to our own beliefs, but it so causes issues and confusion amongst sitters. I know there's nothing that can be done about it, though. And I think if you took 10 mediums and asked them all their opinion, you'd probably get 10 different answers. Nothing is... Gordon Higginson did not believe in reincarnation either. So, it's hard. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard. And... But in the college, you'll never find an AFC tutor teach earthbound spirits, rescue. None of them have that belief. And as I say, many of the famous mediums didn't have that belief system neither. Some do, some don't. For me, it just does not make sense. It does not fit. Spirit guides have said that, they don't need us to help somebody in the spirit world. People in the spirit world are best placed to help those in the spirit world. There's an idea that people don't know they're dead. I think that's wrong. It's kind of a lot of that's supported by movies like Ghost with Patrick Swayze. But again, I think you'd know. You'd know. So yeah, it may take you a short period of time before you know, but you'd know. So many people say that, soldiers say they got shot and for a few seconds or for a few minutes they didn't realise they died, and then they did. But it's not hours, years or months. Okay. But yeah, it's a tricky one, and my views will upset as many people as they will appeal to. Those are all tricky questions. Absolutely. So do we have any more questions, or is that it? I'm not seeing any more on the list. We've been going for pretty much an hour and 26 minutes, which is not bad going. I generally run for about an hour and a half, so that's pretty much good. So yeah, in the absence of more questions, I'm going to thank you all for coming. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I do hope you've got a lot from it. Remember, if you want to support the channel, do check out what I offer in my store. If you want to support the channel as well, you can support it through donation, buy me a coffee through PayPal me as well. And thanks to all those who made super chat donations during the course of the class as well. It is greatly appreciated. Is that one more question that's sneaking under the radar? No problem. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you for coming. Lovely to see you. And I look forward to seeing you all again in the next one. Bye for now. Take care.